My cheating wife begged me to take her back after her affair. Partner lost everything. I got revenge. Title: The First Betrayal I Never Forgot. Growing up, Jackson Carter didn't need bedtime stories. His life was already a tragedy in motion. His father wasn't just unfaithful, he was reckless, shameless. Jackson remembers the sting of cheap perfume clinging to his dad's shirts, the cold dinners his mom reheated alone, and the nights he lay in bed, listening to her muffle her sobs through paper-thin walls. He didn't understand it then, but the scars began to form early. Love, to him, wasn't soft or safe. It was fragile and often one-sided. He made himself a promise before he turned 13. I will never be that man, and I will never let someone destroy me the way he destroyed her. So when Jackson met Eliza in high school, a girl with fire in her eyes and honesty in her smile, he believed he'd finally rewritten the story. She was supposed to be the fresh start, the safe harbor. But what he didn't know is that some storms wear perfume too. Title: The Call That Shattered Everything. It started with a phone call Jackson almost didn't answer. A random number, mid-morning. He hovered over the screen, thumb ready to hit decline, until something in his gut told him to pick up. "Is this Mr. Carter?" the voice asked, cold and sharp like a scalpel. "Yes," Jackson replied, confused. "This isn't your wife," the man continued, "but you need to know what she's doing." Every word that followed carved open the life Jackson thought he knew. Eliza, his wife, his first love, the woman who vowed forever, was planning a romantic night with a man named Marcus. Dinner, dancing, a hotel suite. The man on the phone was a coworker, Michael, who had been burned by betrayal himself. "She thinks you'll forgive her," he said. "She believes you're too good, too loyal to walk away." Jackson's blood ran ice cold. The room spun. He tried to breathe, but nothing felt real. Was this a prank, a test, or the beginning of the end? He didn't hang up right away. He just sat there, clutching the phone, replaying every memory, and wondering how long she'd been lying to his face. Title: Smiling Through the Storm. When Jackson walked through the front door that night, Eliza greeted him with a kiss, soft, routine, like everything was perfectly normal. And he kissed her back, not because he believed her anymore, but because he had to. He couldn't tip his hand, not yet. Behind that calm smile was a storm raging so loudly inside him it hurt to breathe. She made dinner. They laughed. They watched a show. All while Jackson's heart clenched around a truth he wasn't ready to say aloud. Earlier that day, he'd sat in a downtown office, signing papers with a private investigator named Carson. Jackson slid him a photo of Eliza, along with a timeline, a name, and a question that felt like acid on his tongue. Is she cheating on me? He didn't want it to be real, but he needed to know. So that night, while Eliza planned her affair behind locked screens and fake smiles, Jackson played his part. He grilled steak. He cleared the dishes. He kissed her goodnight. And when she fell asleep, he stared at the ceiling, knowing that if the truth was what he feared, it would break something in him that could never be fixed again. Title: The Night She Walked Out on Us. Eliza stood at the top of the stairs, radiant in a sleek black dress Jackson had never seen before. She looked beautiful, effortlessly so, but tonight that beauty felt like a knife. Her overnight bag was slung casually over one shoulder. "Where are you going?" Jackson asked, forcing calm into his voice. She hesitated, then offered a smile too light for the weight in the room. "Just dinner, with a friend." "What kind of friend, Eliza?" She didn't flinch. "A man from work, Marcus." Silence thundered between them. "And after dinner?" Jackson's voice cracked just slightly. She shrugged. "Dancing. A hotel. I thought maybe I should try something new. Just once." Jackson's hands clenched at his sides. "And you think that's not going to destroy everything we've built?" She laughed, soft and dismissive. "It's one night, Jackson. One night doesn't undo a lifetime." He stepped in front of the door. "If you walk out that door tonight, you're not walking back into this home." She kissed him on the cheek and whispered, "You're being dramatic." Then she walked past him, heels clicking like gunshots on the hardwood. He didn't stop her. He just closed the door and locked it. Title: Erasing Her. The moment the taillights disappeared down the street, Jackson stood frozen in the entryway, heart pounding like a war drum. For a long while he didn't move, just silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then he turned. Step by step, room by room, he began dismantling her. He started with the photos, vacation smiles, wedding kisses, anniversary dinners. One by one, he pulled them from their frames and tossed them into a trash bag like expired memories. Her clothes came next. Every blouse, every scarf, every pair of heels she wore to play perfect wife, gone. Her perfume bottles, makeup, bathroom trinkets, swept into boxes with surgical precision. He emptied the safe, her passport, her social security card, even the antique necklace from her grandmother. By midnight, the guest room was stacked with bags labeled hers. By 1, her car was packed, parked on the curb, keys on the seat, door unlocked. Not once did Jackson cry. He wasn't angry. He was done. When the final bag hit the floor, he stood alone in the middle of the living room, a man who had just buried a marriage without a funeral. He poured himself a drink, turned off the lights, and sat in the dark, waiting for morning. Title: The Door That Wouldn't Open. At 12:18 p.m., Jackson heard the doorbell. He already knew who it was. He didn't rush. Instead, he took one last sip of coffee, set the cup down, and opened the door just enough to see her face. Flushed, confused, still wearing the same dress, now wrinkled and stained by the night she thought he'd forget. "My key doesn't work," she said with a nervous laugh. "Why is my car out here?" Jackson didn't blink. "Because you don't live here anymore." Her smile faltered. "Jackson, don't be ridiculous. It was just one night. Nothing even happened." "Everything happened," he said coldly. "You walked out on us. That was your choice." She pushed forward, but he blocked the doorway. "This is my house," she snapped. "No, it's my parents' house, and they agree. You're done here." Her eyes widened. "You can't do this." "I already did," he said, then closed the door. She banged on it again, screaming. He opened it once more. "Keep hitting that door and I'll call the police." Silence. She stared at him, stunned. He stared back, empty. Then slowly, he shut the door a second time, this time forever. Title: The Truth You Didn't Want to See. The pounding on the door returned, not Eliza this time, but Judy, her older sister. Jackson opened it just enough to see her frustration bleeding through her forced composure. "She's crying at my house, Jackson," Judy snapped. "What the hell did you do?" Jackson didn't answer. He simply stepped aside and motioned her in. "She said you two had a fight over a walk, that you overreacted," Judy continued. Jackson gave a bitter laugh and walked to the mantel. "A walk?" He grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. "She tell you about the dinner reservations? The hotel suite? The part where she kissed another man in my driveway?" Judy opened her mouth, but no words came. Jackson pressed play. There on the screen was Eliza, wrapped around another man, lips locked, hands wandering. Judy watched in silence, her face draining of color. "I loved her," Jackson said, voice low. "I built a life with her, and she thought I'd be too weak to stop her." Judy swallowed hard. "I didn't know." "No one did," he replied. "Not until now." She sat down slowly, staring at the screen like it might erase itself. But truth doesn't delete, it just stays and burns. Title: Lie by Lie, It Fell Apart. The conference room was cold, sterile, 4 chairs, 4 faces, one truth buried under layers of denial. Eliza sat across from Jackson, her lawyer to her right, Judy beside her. She looked thinner, her eyes red, but the arrogance still clung to her voice like cheap perfume. "I made a mistake," she began, soft and trembling. "I went out with a friend. We drank too much. Nothing happened. I love my husband. I want to fix this." Jackson said nothing. He just picked up a small remote from the table. Her lawyer leaned forward. There was no infidelity, just a misunderstanding. Click. The screen descended from the wall. First, the kiss, long, slow, and anything but friendly, in Jackson's driveway. Next, the hand on her lower back at the hotel restaurant. Then, the two of them slipping into the hotel suite, giggling, stumbling, shedding coats and inhibitions. Eliza went pale. Lie 1, lie 2, lie 3. Silence choked the room. Judy looked away. Her lawyer began quietly packing up papers. And Eliza, she just stared, tears welling, not from guilt, but from being caught. Jackson leaned forward, voice steady. "You didn't just cheat, Eliza. You planned it. And now, you get to live with it." Title: She Vanished, and I Let Her. After the truth came out, Eliza didn't fight. She didn't plead. She just vanished. No calls, no letters, no closure. Weeks passed, then months. Her signature arrived in a bright red marker on the divorce papers, loud, childish, and final. There was no mention of a baby, just silence. Emptiness where a marriage used to live. Jackson didn't chase her. He didn't need to anymore. He ignored Judy's calls, let his mother's voicemails pile up. Even when his stepfather reached out, he kept conversations short. They had all known, maybe not the details, but enough to feel the cracks, and none of them warned him before the house collapsed. He chose peace over explanation. Work became his refuge, selling motorhomes to retirees who still held hands at lunch, drinking coffee alone without watching the door, sleeping without waiting for it to creak open. When people asked how he was, he just smiled. Free. Judy eventually confessed that Eliza had run off to Florida with the man she cheated with. And Jackson? He didn't flinch. He didn't rage. He didn't wish her harm. He simply said, they deserve each other, and meant it, because for the first time in years, he didn't club. Title, The First Time I Let Someone Stay. Darla Jacobson wasn't supposed to mean anything. She was just a passenger, a fiery, sharp-tongued woman who rode shotgun on a cross-country delivery Jackson took to get his mind off everything. She wasn't soft. She wasn't patient. Hell, at first, she didn't even like him. But she was real. When she made lasagna in the Jacobsons' RV and poured him a glass of wine like it was an olive branch, he didn't expect to feel seen. And when she kissed him, unplanned, honest, trembling, he didn't pull away. That night, for the first time in forever, Jackson didn't dream about betrayal. He dreamed about beginnings. Their dinners turned into weekends, arguments into conversations, scar tissue into something almost tender. She didn't ask him to forget. She never once asked him to forgive his past. She just showed up and stayed. At a backyard barbecue under string lights and stars, Dodie Jacobson leaned in and whispered, "You've been through hell, sweetheart. Let yourself be happy." Jackson looked across the yard at Darla, laughing with her casted arm raised, mocking some old story. And for the first time in years, he let the wall down. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe it was just chapter 1.